Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Quite some discussion yesterday on the next Call of Duty title, WW2 Vanguard, as we believe it's going to be at the present time. Some thoughts about exactly what could be coming up in this year's game, and also a lot of pro players are, well, not particularly happy, let's just say, about some of these implications. Intriguing your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you and you as always are greatly appreciated. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, thought this is pretty funny from Methods. Yo, you can put plastic in the microwave, right? At TJHaLy. Pretty sure they're teaming right now on the challenger side. Then I hear him drop his headset and absolutely sprint into the kitchen, no doubt about it. Thought I'd mention this as well, actually, because, well, it comes out that the Season 4 Reloaded, as they tend to do every single time. You can see right here, Rush, new multiplayer map finally arriving in the game, but also a lot of people are pointing out new League Play rewards, pro issue blueprints. So it seems like finally there's some additional League Play rewards. We saw Octane talking on the Esports podcast about, like, I wish there was just something more in game that would actually incentivize people to play competitive at the very least. And, well, this is something maybe a step in the right direction. It's well, it's kind of maybe unfortunate this didn't happen already, but still, new League Play rewards. Cannot really complain about stuff like that. Maybe we'll get some players into League Play and see how things will go from there. So, Salvation's Elite, he did a video very similar to this last year for Cold War, talking about well, some of the things that he'd heard about the game. Now, of course, this for this year's title about Vanguard, this is just things he's heard. It may not indeed be the case. Things that could be completely different come the actual title. But a lot of this makes some sense given what we might expect, right? Because the fact of the matter is, this is WW2 Vanguard developed by Sledgehammer. We're kind of wondering, is it going to be exactly the same as WW2 originally back in 2017? Because that was good for some players, not so good for others. It was a really interesting time, to be honest, going back from a very, very quick indeed jetpack game in Infinite Warfare. It wasn't quite as quick as Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3, but still, going back to a very slow-paced, boots-on-the-ground game like WW2, definitely very different players were at the top of the standings that year to what we saw in years prior during the jetpack era, let's just say. Of course, X got back on top, right, for the World Championship, so there was definitely some implications. And, of course, if you're going to build a roster for this season, you got to think about what roster could potentially work in this game. Now, our expectation would be, to be honest, for me, is that, look, they want to integrate it with Warzone. It's going to be built on the Modern Warfare engine. So how similar is it actually going to be to Modern Warfare? But apparently it could be pretty similar indeed. This is what Crone says to kind of summarize some of the things that he's heard. Maybe, you know, this won't be true at all, but we'll have to see. Gunplay, similar to Modern Warfare. So apparently the movement, the gunplay, like given the engine and stuff, is pretty similar to the Modern Warfare title, which wouldn't really surprise too many people, to be honest. But of course, what that does mean is that we've got a slide cancel, we've got even apparently tactical sprints coming back, these types of things. I'm sure maybe there's going to be a few videos to make throughout the season on auto-tac sprints, right? And certainly some discussion on whether that's cheating and all this type of stuff, and whether the engine has also similar game-breaking glitches to in previous years. How similar it is to these titles is certainly another question. And of course, look, we're hoping that, let's just say, Sledgehammer Games, they did a great job in World War II with their league play system, their rank play system. If they can do a similar job here, I think it'd be fantastic. But whether that happens, of course, is another question. But as Crone continues on, UI, color, overall vibe of the game, similar to Cold War. This was, I think, people's big concern about World War II, especially coming from, I mean, it was kind of sandwiched between two games that are relatively bright. Infinite Warfare was pretty good. We had Black Ops 3 just before that, and then after World War II, of course, it came to Black Ops 4, and that was also a very aesthetically pleasing title. So apparently, like, the color and the vibes are similar to Cold War, which I think we'll take that, to be honest, right? I'd prefer it not to be like the original World War II. I'd prefer it not to be like Modern Warfare. I think Cold War, even though the game might not be the greatest game in the world, as I'm sure you guys like to talk about, still, like the vibes and the colors of it are not too bad, to be honest. Like, they're better. Treyarch games are always better generally than the other two developers, I think, in that respect. So if they're going down the more Treyarch side of things for like the vibe of the game, then I think that's a step in the right direction, because of course we want it to be good to watch, right? Not just from actually the gameplay being good, but also to be enjoyable to look at visually, which is something that I think maybe they missed out back in the day. Because I remember what was it, Michael Condrey, you always used to talk about like the visceral, like how visceral the game was, or whatever, and like how realistic it was back in the original World War II. And I kind of prefer something to be a little bit more cartoon-like that Treyarch tend to do, because that tends to be more enjoyable to watch. But yeah, tactical sprint, slide cancel, field upgrades, and gunsmith are returning. So some other things as well, but this is the thing, right? The slide cancel, the movement, the gunplay, apparently really similar to Modern Warfare. The field upgrades, I mean, no, well, I haven't really talked about dead silence, right? Whether that's a thing. So this is where the questions really come into play. And it's the flank save right here. We love tactical sprints, but well, not too good for this World War II Vanguard. Let's see who it really is. Oh yeah, it's Modern Warfare 2. This is what kind of confuses me in a way, is that I thought, okay, maybe this year will be slightly different, and then next year it's going to be Infinity Ward back in making Modern Warfare, and they would just like, make Modern Warfare 2. I don't really know what they would call it, right? Because there's already been a Modern Warfare 2. There was already a Modern Warfare, but it was called COD 4 Modern Warfare back in the day, and this is just called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It's technically different titles, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was just called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So they'll have to do something different next year. But I was thinking, okay, maybe they'll take a year out and do something a little bit different, and then Modern Warfare 2 or whatever Infinity Ward decide to make for next year's title in 2022, then that'll be like very similar to what we played last year. But maybe Vanguard is just going to be a very similar game anyway. I can understand why they want to do so, to make sure it integrates with Warzone and make sure everything's smooth between the two of them. But well, certainly some people aren't particularly happy. Some players are happy about it, and we'll have a look at that in a second, but others are not so convinced. As Mork says right here, I would like to announce my retirement, but aBeZy's like, look, you know, you love Tac Sprint, and I'm sure aBeZy's not particularly too sad about this, right? Because Aches and other players have talked about it, right? That yeah, who's even going to beat FaZe with a game with well, tactical sprint and slide cancelling and this type of movement? Because he was much better, and other players were so much better at a game like World War II when the movement was very vanilla. You could effectively run around, like all you could really do was do the punch dolphin dive thing, and you could use your shoulders on corners, and some players were better at that than others, and there wasn't really too much difference in terms of the movement. But the slide cancel really did bring in another element, that some of these players are particularly good with it, some of the players are, let's say, not particularly good with it, and of course that causes some skill gap to appear within the game. As Grim says right here, if Dead Silent D's a field upgrade again, Method Double kind of saying like, I'm off the scene right here now, lads. I'm not too sure about that one. And well, this is what Crone says, like, what are the 3 things on top of your wish list? I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below. One of my big ones, to be honest, would be, I mean, first of all, maps. Like, for me, it's just maps and then league play. Like, if the maps are good, I don't know how many maps we're going to get at this point. There's been rumors there's only like going to be 8 maps or something. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. Obviously, they're meant to be bringing back London Docks at some point, so maybe that'll happen as well. But look, I think a lot of great competitive Call of Duty maps is like an absolute necessity, and then like a working league play system. That's really all I need. I don't really care too much about the gunplay and all this type of stuff. It all works out fine if the maps are good. That's my thought process at the very least. But of course, some pros have some interesting things to say. This comes out from Claystar. Of course, well, certainly tongue-in-cheek, sarcastically on this one. Modern Warfare spawning system. The squad spawns had a lot of concern right in that game. Modern Warfare bunny hole and Modern Warfare holding doors closed. This was something we heard talked about right at the end of the season. Pro players had found, maybe a few months into the year, that if you like, I don't know, you had to do something on a door, like maybe stand behind it and to hold certain button combinations. I forget exactly what it is. Some of you guys can probably let me know down below. But there were certain doors, like let's say on Gunrunner, right, towards the second hard point. Those front doors, right, they're the kind of blue doors that could lock together. You could, you could actually hold them closed and prevent them from opening. I'm pretty sure it was like GA'd between the pros to not do this, but it was just one of those systems. It's like, wow, how is this even possible to be executed? The pros, of course, are going to find this stuff over time. Octane's like, look, tactical sprint doors and Warzone, bring it back, baby. This is exactly what we want. I mean, doors are just one of those things that just was not the best for competitive. I really hope they don't come back, but maybe they will fully go down the Modern Warfare route, right? Who really knows what Activision are whispering in the ears, right, of a sledgehammer to say, look, we want this game to be as similar to Modern Warfare as it possibly can be. Attach isn't convinced either. Enemies not showing on the minimap when they shoot. Of course, this was the thing that was really, well, a big concern for a lot of people last year, right, with enemies just not appearing, and the minimap didn't even work like it did traditionally, and thankfully we were back to a normal minimap here in Cold War. We don't really have any news yet on what the minimap could potentially be like for Vanguard, and well, then we get this from Mork's doors, no minimap, extremely loud footsteps followed with dead silence being a power up, which I think was a frustration to a lot of people. So I think people are somewhat concerned right now, especially the pros, about the situation with Vanguard, as well, Nato says right here, like, you know, just bring back jetpack to this point, to be honest, just get us back to a jetpack era. But well, certainly some pros aren't necessarily convinced this is a bad idea, because as Pro says right here, Inda, that being ILLey, saw the intel tweet and started crying at dinner, was in the middle of eating my well done steak and started crying at tears of joy. So well, happy I suppose about the movement mechanics being back to as they were. ILLey clearly liked it last year. World Championships alongside Crimsix, World Championship winners alongside Crimsix on that game on the Dallas Empire. This other was kind of funny on the Reddit as well. Shotzzy hearing that Tac Sprint and slide cancelling is back certainly had a huge advantage in that game. Well, he just was so much better at times at least than everyone else in their title. So not everyone is convinced this is a terribly bad idea. As well, Zero isn't particularly happy about it. He's well, you know, he's well, not necessarily too happy, but well, you know, screw it. Actually, I want to really any COD I play. Just give it to me now, and well, I'll get back in the league at some point or another. As Parasite says right here, look, I'm going to be good at COD regardless, but tactical sprint is such an inconsistent mechanic because you cannot track whether someone has it or not, so it makes tracking player timings much harder. Hopefully it's not actually back. One consistent sprint speed and one consistent walk speed. This is a great point from Parasite. This is you know, one of the issues with this as a mechanic, to be honest, was the fact that like you don't know how quick players are going to be. This is one of the great things about it, or one of the things that kind of threw off the game when Overdrive was a mechanic or whatever. It's great in Call of Duty if you can tell, like if you have like a mental clock of when someone can get to a certain point. Like they're running through and you know, okay, they sprinted and therefore they're probably going to be sprinted the whole way. Therefore you can kind of make a good judgment as to how long it's going to take them to get to certain places. But if tactical sprint is a thing, you're not sure whether they have it or whether they've run out of it, then it really causes an issue with it, well, tracking player timings, let's just say. So obviously see some issues from the, well, the kind of high-level competitive perspective. But and this is one of the reasons why Parasite maybe you should consult the developers or something. But I doubt that's ever going to happen. I mean, this is what Breaker Boy said at the time. He's trying to give us jetpacks if we ever found a COD developer on the street. But well, maybe that won't happen anytime soon. Who really knows if we're going back to that point? Maybe in a few years, right? But Warzone obviously is Warzone is obviously the big factor of consideration in creating the direction the Call of Duty goes right now. Speaking of jetpacks, though, wanted to finish off the video with this. We talked about Formal's nicely little ace with the sniper earlier today, but this is a pretty incredible one. The finals of UMG Dallas 2015, when it was the FaZe Clan guys and Enable clutching this pretty memorable 1 versus 3 from inside green right here, whatever this room happened to be called, over on Detroit Search and Destroy. What a map this was. This, of course, in the jetpack era. There's a lot of people are reminiscing at the present time. And intriguing your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm that you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
Pretty much dead for right, but no! Formal turns around and picks up the melee, and Enable now for the 1v3. We just saw him clutch the 1v1. Can he give FaZe a 3-0 lead?
Enable is last alive, spots some feet on the site, picks up 1 kill. Now the 1-on-2, Scump.
Enable, but 1v3! Enable! Oh my goodness! Enable, make some noise! That was sick!
Enable, your red-headed brethren there, Benson, making you proud here on the main stage.
Oh my god!
I mean, right there, you just saw OpTic Gaming flooding in 1 by 1 right into that submachine gun.
They just couldn't kill him.
Enable just left triggered and took them all out with ease. The 1v3.
Enable made it look easy.
He just beat Crim in a 1-on-1 there in the final seconds, winning that gunfight. Now the 1-on-3 versus